Hello, my good people. It's my pleasure to warmly welcome you to this channel. I'm Osas and I'm the author of this channel. And in this channel, we're going to be looking at mathematics, physics, and chemistry. Some of you have actually complained to me that they are having challenges handling these subjects. And especially so when you know that you are going for maybe medicine, engineering, and any of the physical sciences. You need these three subjects in order to gain admission into your various universities. This channel is also very important because some of you are also having issues with attempting alternative to physics and chemistry. In your GCE, you are actually not going to be doing real practicals. Rather, you're going to be looking at alternative to practicals. If that is your target, if you are looking at writing GCE soonest, then this channel is for you. In this channel, we will be looking at physics, we'll be looking at chemistry, and mathematics in general. And as time elapses, we're going to split up and create separate channels for each of these subjects. To start with, we are looking at mathematics in this lesson. And the topic we're looking at in mathematics is bearing. As you can see, we're going to start from bearing. As a student in SS2, that is grade 11, you are supposed to know how to handle bearing very well. Bearing has to be a very good topic in mathematics that you can deal with. Then, as you can see, I've quickly put down a few notes for you there in bearing. Bearing is used to calculate the distance and direction between two places or points on the XY plane. Bearing basically deals with direction. It actually means direction. For instance, if you are asked to calculate the bearing, you are actually going to calculate angle. So bearing from the onset, from the beginning of this lesson, means direction. You can see it there. Bearing means direction. You can have it here. Bearing means direction. So as a good mathematics student, it is equally good that you are conversant with units. The unit of bearing is primarily in degrees, though you can also have it in other units. But for this lesson, we're going to be using degrees as the unit of bearing. So far, what have we discussed? We've been able to introduce this topic, bearing. Bearing is used to calculate the distances and direction between two places or points on the XY plane. Bearing basically means direction. Its unit is degrees. So far, we have known what is bearing. So we understand what we're going to be dealing with. There are different types of bearing that we are going to be seeing in this lesson. First, we are going to look at back bearing. Back bearing is very simple but very technical as well. What really does back bearing means? As the name suggests, back means reverse. It means reverse bearing. Now, just look at this statement. If the bearing, as you can see, if the bearing of A from B is known, that is, if the bearing of A from B is known, then, can you see my pen there? The bearing of B from A is known as the back bearing. If the bearing of A from B is known, then the bearing of B from A is known as what? The back bearing. The key word here we are isolating is this word from. In bearing, you have to be very, very careful with the way you manage this word from. Of course, when this word is used, it indicates your starting point. If the bearing of A from B is known, it means we are starting from B. So B is the starting point, while A here is the final or your destination point as suggested by this word from. Then in this second case, we also have the bearing of B from A. From A, meaning that your A, point A becomes the starting point in this case, while B is the destination point. Now, if the bearing of A from B is known, then the bearing of B from A is known as the back bearing. Now, at this point, we cannot look at an example. I have an example here to illustrate back bearing. Can you see there, example 1? If the bearing of A from B, can you see it? The bearing of A from B is 150 degrees. That the bearing of A from B is 150 degrees. What is the bearing of B from A? That's a simple question indeed. The bearing of A from B is 150 degrees. What is the bearing of B from A? Now look at the solution. The first thing here is to draw the diagram. Diagram is very important in bearing. Without diagram, you cannot solve bearing problems. In fact, it is even better to learn the diagram. How to draw bearing diagram is very, very important, because your analysis, your calculation is going to be based on the diagram that you have drawn. So if you draw your diagram correctly, you will most probably analyze the question well. But if the diagram is wrong, you might just be starting wrongly. So in this case, we were told that the bearing of A from B is 150 degrees. So since it's from B, then we are starting at point B. That's why you are having the starting point there, B. So you draw your 4 cardinal points. Now, angles are measured from the north in clockwise direction. Angles are measured from the north in clockwise direction. So, since we are starting from B and the bearing of A from B is 150, we measure 150 degrees from the north in clockwise direction. So, as you can see from my pen, from this point to this point is 90 degrees. You can see the 90 degrees there. So, what will I add to 90 degrees to give me 150? Obviously, you take away 90 from 150. That's how we arrive at that 60 degrees you are seeing. So, the whole of this angle from this point down to this line is 150, because 90 plus 60 will give you 150 degrees, which is the angle given to us in the question. So, you draw the line representing 150 degrees. You can see the line here drawn from B and is ending at this point, and this is our point A. So the point A is usually at this midpoint. Now, you draw your 4 cardinal points there as well. After which, you will observe that this line joining B to A is actually a transversal. A transversal is a line that joins 2 parallel lines. The 2 parallel lines we have here are this horizontal line at point B and the second horizontal line at point A. So this line becomes a transversal. So this angle, if this angle is 60, then by alternate angles here too will also be 60. Then the remaining angle here will be 30. Then here too will be 30 because of alternate angles. Therefore, the bearing of B from A will be the whole of this angle starting from the north. You go in clockwise direction down to the line joining B to A. That is, you start from here, measure around, and then stop here. And for you to get that angle, you have 90 here, you have 90 here, you have 90 here, then you add the remaining 60 degrees. And if you do that, you're going to have this. Therefore, the bearing of B from A will be equals to 90, which is this first 90, plus 90, which is this second 90, plus 90, which is this third 90, plus this 60 degrees. And if you sum all of them, you're going to have 360 degrees. Therefore, the bearing of B from A will be 360 degrees. So that is how we represent back bearing. What have we said so far? We have been able to introduce the concept of bearing. We have an idea of what bearing means as it represents direction or angles. Then we've equally seen back bearing. We took an example to illustrate back bearing, right? And the diagram was equally shown. So as an assignment, you take this. If the bearing of B from A is 60 degrees, what is the bearing of A from B? If the bearing of B from A is 60 degrees, what is the bearing of A from B? You can pause the video at every session and replay it so that you get exactly what I have said. Thank you very much. If you find this video interesting, you do well to subscribe so that each time I upload a new video, you will be among the first people to view it. Obviously, we're going to look at the tools that I use for bearing in my next video. Thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you in my next video.